Rahman Jr., the guy that's getting ready to fight with Jake Paul, signed that contract a week ago. Signed the contract because the other boxer who signed the contract isn't even going to come to the country, right? So now Top Rahman is coming out and saying that he wants to renegotiate a contract. He wants to renegotiate a contract that he signed a week ago that, by the way, pays him 10 times more than any fight has ever paid him. Now, that's his business. But you do see why Jake Paul has been doing business up until this point with MMA guys. You're seeing it right now. This is the difference. If an MMA guy tells you you have a deal, you have a deal. And he may bitch and moan and go to the media and cry, poor me. He will show up. There's good deals and there's bad deals. But a deal's a deal. And in MMA, we understand this. The boxer who signed a deal a week ago is trying to renegotiate to take on a guy who the boxing community says isn't a boxer. I mean, do you understand this? I know that I'm banging the same drum, guys. I know that I do this. But I'll stop as soon as you stop. As soon as you stop acting like Jake Paul isn't in the pool of tough guys. He is. And that's all I'm asking. You don't have to say he's a world champion. You don't have to say he's the next best thing. You don't have to do any of that. He goes in the category of a legitimate tough guy. What more can Paul do? And Paul even came out and put his foot down. He said, we'll find someone else. I won't fight at all. We are not paying him more money. He's not worth it. Well, he's right. He's right. I mean, I called him Top Rahman Jr. That's to get a cheap laugh from you. I don't even have a good insult nickname. I don't know the guy's name. I can't even think of a good insult nickname. I know I'm right on the Rahman part. I know I'm right on the Junior part. And I know that these two sparred. There was even like a little clip that was going around the internet. And it was complete clickbait. It was like Jake and Top Rahman are in there sparring, and then all hell broke loose. Like, this is what the click, and then when you click on it, it's just them talking to each other. It does appear by the editing of this video that they were at least in the same ring. But that's good stuff. Right, we'll take that. You guys remember it was a great fight. Pat Cummins got into the UFC. And to get in the UFC, he got to walk straight into a co-main event of a pay-per-view. That's the good news. The bad news, standing across from Daniel Cormier, but it worked. It worked, and people bought it. And it all had to do with a workout that those two had done many, many years earlier at the Olympic Training Center. They did not have the advantage of video of it. But they started interviewing people that were there. And I remember this is when the UFC was still on Fox. And there was big talk shows that Fox Sports would do. They brought Pat Cummins, who had never been in the UFC. And he was doing media in those positions saying, as a matter of fact, I got the best of him in a workout, and here's what happened. And then they brought in witnesses saying, I saw it that day. That's what happened. That's great stuff. It's really great stuff. And I only bring it because there's a value to this. I don't understand why they were going with Rahman Jr. I didn't get it. I don't have to. I know that Jake Paul is trying to appease you. This is not the cash grab or the attention grab that many people are still make-believing it is. Jake Paul is after something else, and it's acceptance into a group that he belongs in. But you now see why he was doing business with MMA guys repeatedly. It was not for an easier night. It was not because he thought he had a leg up. It wasn't even to level the playing field of the skills. So that he had a viable opponent that would do what he said he was going to do. I don't know if this Hasim's going to show. I have the foggiest idea. I know he wouldn't be in bad company if he bailed. I know Will Fleury has already slid on that. Boxing community ate that right up. Oh, it's a passport, it's a visa issue, whatever it was. Whatever that was is already gone. He's not suffering any boo-boos. He's not suffering any loss of ego. You would in MMA. If you gave your word to do so, it doesn't make a goddamn why you don't show up. If you said you were going to do it and then you say you're not going to do it, I can't think of a time we've had that happen. I truly can't. Been following the sport as a fan since 1993. I cannot give you an example of a time that happened. I'm quite sure they're there. I don't think that you have to list them for me, but I'm being very candid with you. I just can't think of one. It's a very big deal. And it is one of the reasons that it's so difficult to do business in boxing. If you had a deal with Top Ramen, okay, what are they giving him? A couple $1,000,000? Let's just call it $1 million. Slice Tommy Fury's right in half. You got this footage, Top Ramen, you're a millionaire. Let's just say it's $1 million. I'm very safe with that number. He then comes out and says that he wants to. Let's say that you were putting on a show and you offered him more than $1 million that he's already agreed to. He will be in your show and not in that one. You go, wait a minute, you got a contract and I'll see you in court and I'll get a temporary restraining order. Then go get the restraining order and see me in court because I'm not showing up. I'm going over here. He offered me $1 more. That's the way boxing works. It's worked that way from the beginning of time. You can get guy 500 and 500. Somebody else calls him, says, I'll give you 750 and 750. He will stiff your show. Doesn't matter if your posters are done. Doesn't matter if you sold tickets. So this is what they do in boxing. And I bring that to you because a lot of the boxing community is going to hear me and go, well, of course he went to the other guy, Chael. What are you talking about? Right, that's just the way the sport works. But you wonder why Dana White looked at doing the sport and threw his hands up and said, I can't fix it. It's because of things like this. You have a community, you can't trust them, and then the community doesn't keep you straight. I mean, in all fairness, if the boys did that in the locker room, it would never get to Dana. We would straighten them out in the locker room. If they ever tried to pull that, it would never get outside the room. You would never hear about it. We would have handled that ourselves, and he would have done what he said he was going to do at the time he said he was going to do it for the price that he said he would do it for. Boxing won't care that Rahman Jr. is trying to pull this. The next promoter won't sign him. Rahman's not aware of that. He won't have managers and trainers around him going, hey, listen, you're devaluing yourself. Nobody's going to pick you up from here. Your word will be, nobody will grab him. Nobody will straighten him up. They'll think he's right. They'll think hold him out, play hostage. Date's ticking. Paul announced it. It's the Garden. He's going to fight. He needs, I don't understand the whole thing. I'm not looking to fight Jake Paul, guys. I'm not. I'm licensed in New York. I have nothing going on August 6th. I'll tell you right now. Right now. I'm in the contract. I don't need to talk about anything. I don't happen to be doing anything on August 6th. I'll tell you right now I'll be there. They can't do that in this community. They don't work that way. They're not hungry for a fight. They're not yearning for an opportunity. 10 times what you've ever made before. Set that aside. That's a nice little cherry to put on top of the sundae of the story. Got nothing to do with it. I don't care if it's 10 times the other way. If you said you're going to do it, do it.